Schmeckers, we're keeping it safe, but we're keeping it cool. Now, other than some amazing priceless artwork on my refrigerator, I also have a temperature gauge, which is great. And if yours has it, it's brilliant because you really want that. You want to make sure that your refrigeration is working up to par. Personally, I keep mine at 40 degrees for the fridge and 1 degree for the freezer. The reason I do that is Chef Tommy loves his ice cream, and at 1 degree, it doesn't get rock hard. So, and while I've got this open, take note, all the cool stuff is going out and going to the bottom. Cold falls, heat rises. So I'm gonna shut that again. So keep that in mind. So all the stuff that you really want to keep the coldest, try to keep on the bottom. I keep my seafood down there and some things that might clump up, like pierogies or raviolis in the bottom, because that's gonna really, really knock it out. These are amazing. When you get this fish, this is a tuna chop, and the packaging's all like squeezed in. We call that reduced oxygen packaging. And this is amazing because what it's done, it's revolutionized the food industry, because now we are reducing, like the freezer burn we used to get, like when mom would freeze something and be like, it's kind of dry and kind of nasty. This prevents that, which is great, but it also can be very dangerous. So when we have any type of fish or meat that has this thing, we want to cut that open and thaw it out, and I always thaw it out in the refrigerator. We don't run this underneath the water, because what can happen is botulism is that it's anaerobic, which means it doesn't need oxygen to live, and it can start breeding in here. Same with listeria, and we know nobody wants botulism or listeria. So when you have that type of fish or seafood and it's vacuum packed, then we want to just put it in the refrigerator on a separate plate like I did here. So what's cool is now I've got these tuna fillets, which are perfectly defrosted, right? I wrapped them in saran wrap so the juices stay on the plate, and now it's just perfect, and that's gonna be delicious to prepare. Also, if you notice, I've got my seafood about right here. In the restaurant world, we usually keep the chicken on the bottom, burgers on top of that, and then seafood, chopped meats, and ready-to-eat foods on top. Ready-to-eat foods is something that you would like buy from the grocery store and it's ready to eat. Whether it's your milk or your berries or tomatoes, very little food prep for that. And in my household, I keep my dairy on top because I like the fact that it's in the back, it's gonna stay the coldest. And then I've got my ready-to-eat foods, and it's usually my berries, because berries go so quickly that I wanna have that eye view every time I open it up, so I can throw them to my kid, or I could throw them in a pancake or a muffin or whatnot and not waste them. Same with my tomatoes and my mushrooms. In the back, I'll put, like, I've got a ham. It's been cooked already. It's ready to eat. On the bottom is ready-to-eat foods, and I've got some seafood next to it, but it's hyper contaminated. And then the rest is just kind of like my breakfast stuff, a breakfast casserole, my bacon, my sausage. Then my cheese is in my deli, vegetables in the middle right there. And then on the very bottom are like all my grated cheese, my blue cheese crumbles and whatnot. And then on the door is any condiments. And I've got, my butters and my sweets and such like that. But you notice, it's funny, I don't keep my eggs in my refrigerator. I will, if I buy a lot of eggs, I'll have them in there, but I usually keep my eggs right on the countertop, because my eggs usually need to be room temperature when I cook with them, whether I'm making an aioli or just an egg in a pan. The second it hits that heat, any bacteria is going to be killed, and that shell is keeping everything nice and neat from any kind of bacteria or whatnot. Actually, the shell, the outside's the dirtiest part. So again, keeping it cool, making sure that it's working properly, being cognizant of not leaving your doors open, right? Which I tend to do sometimes. And to keep like anything that like is raw separate from everything else, whether it's in a container or whether it's like really on its own shelf. So that's about it for keeping it cool. I can't think of anything else right now, but I really hope that you take these tips and tricks, and we're gonna really rock out. So thank you so much, and we love you lots from the Fitzes.